Toolbar, toolbar, here I come. So today we are going to talk about the toolbar in Android. This is Webs from slidenerd here, and we are going to talk about how to use our own toolbar as the action bar or app bar. Now, for those of you who don't know, the word action bar is no longer used. It's the app bar officially as per Google's documentation. So let's take a look at the different steps that we need to follow to set up a toolbar. Step 1, use the Theme.AppCompat.Light.NoActionBar or the AppCompat.NoActionBar to prevent the system action bar from showing. Then define your toolbar inside your app_bar.xml. Of course, you can name it anything you want, but this is the convention which I have started following since Lollipop came out. Other than that, there's the include inside your layout.xml file in your activity or your fragment or wherever you want to add it to the toolbar. Now remember, the toolbar is not necessarily used always as the action bar. It can be used separately as some kind of bottom bar or something else as well. Though Google hasn't really said what are the different possibilities right now. At the current moment of making this video, it's assumed that the toolbar can be used in two situations. One, either as the top bar, which is the part of the action bar, or as a separate bottom bar which is not related to your system action bar in any way. We will take a look at both the approaches. And then there is your toolbar instantiation inside your activity using the find view by ID, which is normal, which you guys have been doing all this time. Other than that, there is the call to set support action bar that you have to do. Pass your toolbar object inside and tell Android, hey look, who's the new action bar now. And then what you need to do is either have app theme and app pop-up theme implemented if necessary. Now remember, step 6 is not compulsory. It completely depends on how your toolbar looks, whether you have a light theme selected and there's a light dark colors on it and you want light text on the background, then you need to have these two implemented if you want. Other than that, the last step is to customize the different properties of your toolbar by either using the toolbar object directly, or you can call the get support action bar. So are we ready? Let's start. So as per material design specs, under the structure section of your layouts, if you can see, this is the mobile structure that Google has proposed for the new and Lollipop devices that are coming out. And if you want to make your apps compatible with Lollipop as well as the pre-Lollipop devices, then you should start following this. The bottom bar here is optional. They've already said an optional bottom bar here. And of course, there's the floating action button. The pink things that you see are nothing but left and right navigation drawers. And if you go down for the tablet structure, it looks pretty much the same but with a lot more area. And if you go further down to the desktop structure, things look a little different. Now this is typically like a WordPress site with two sidebars on both sides. It just looks that way to me. I don't know how it looks to you. So now let's go further down and take a look at what they say for the toolbar. So there you go. This is the full width, the default height app bar that you have. Whose height is of course 56 dp on mobile devices and 64 dp on tablets, and that's given. We'll get to that shortly. Oops, keep the current color scheme. All right, so there you go for the full width extended app bar. Now this is the big one, and of course there are other variations here. Take a look at this card one. Take a look at how they have placed the toolbar floating on top of the map they have inside their app, and something like that. So if you go further down, there is your app bar, where now they are talking very specifically about what should come at the top of your app. So there's a navigation icon. In case of navigation drawer, this is going to be seen when your drawer is open, and if your drawer is closed, then there's going to be an arrow pointing on the left by default. And of course you can put a spinner here, you can put whatever you want. And if you see further down, there are other things that they talk about, like what it looks like when it's in light theme, what the dark variation of that looks like, what a colored one looks, what a transparent one looks. And the most important part here is the metrics. Like I said, 56 dp is the height that they have given, and of course there's 16 dp padding on both sides. And other than that, the title baseline is 20 dp above the bottom. Phew, that looks too much to digest, doesn't it? Now let's go back here and inside our Android Studio and try to actually implement this. But before that, there's of course the tablet specs here, where they have said 64 dp here for the tablet and the desktop, I believe. And of course there's 24 dp padding here, and the 72 actually transforms to 80 dp on the tablet and the desktop. So let's go back to Android Studio and take a look at what we have. So this is the default action bar that we have so far. Now let's get rid of this and try to place our custom toolbar. So going to our styles.xml file, let's try to implement the first step where we're going to have Light.NoActionBar here. And of course, we don't need to make any changes inside v21 styles.xml because the parent is app_theme.base. And if you go to styles.xml, this is our app_theme.base whose common parent is Theme.AppCompat.Light.NoActionBar. In other words, this is going to be inherited over here. Now at this point, if you run this app, of course, you're not gonna see any action bar. Oh, look at that. No app bar at all, and how weird it looks. Now let's try to make our toolbar. First of all, we need to make a separate layout file. We go to layout here and we say layout resource file, and we'll call it app_bar.xml. The root element, well, let's keep it toolbar directly here, and we can say toolbar, click OK. And I'm pretty sure that Android Studio is going to mess up at this point by including the toolbar where it says view requires API level 21, current minimum is 14. You don't want to use this. First, let's format this by pressing Ctrl Alt L on Android Studio, click run, and everything is formatted. We're going to remove this and we're going to say android.support.v7.widget.toolbar. And of course, I'm too lazy to type the closing tag, so I'll just delete it, open an angle bracket, and again hit the cross forward slash, and it automatically types that for me. So let's first try to format this once again by saying Control Alt L over here. Of course, I need to hit a new line here, and now if I format it, it's perfectly in place. So let's take a look at what this toolbar actually is. So here's the irony. Toolbar extends view group. Now that makes it like a layout, doesn't it? Like, take a look at this. There's a view group that extends from view, and finally there's our toolbar. And if you take a look at what the toolbar should contain, here's the things that they are there. They say the tool from start to end, the toolbar may contain a combination of the following optional elements. In other words, they are not saying that anything is compulsory. So there's a navigation button out here. There's the logo image out there, the title and subtitle. Now notice this sentence here which says if an app uses a logo image, it should strongly consider omitting a title and subtitle. In other words, they are trying to say that you either put the icon or you put the title. Don't put both of them and crowd the app bar. And other than that, there's custom views, which is exactly what we are going to make now. And of course, there's the action menu that we need to implement. So let's go back to Android Studio. And now what we are going to do is actually nothing. We're just going to go there directly to our activity underscore main.xml, and I'm going to include this here. So doing that, we're going to simply go here, we're going to say include here, and we're going to simply say the layout file here, which is going to be @layout/app_bar. Now what should be the width and the height of the app bar? Let's go to the app_bar.xml and take a look at that. We have specified match parent and match parent. And since in the activity underscore main.xml we have not specified any width and height, it's going to come here, it's going to take this width and height into consideration. We don't want that. We want this height to be wrap content. And other than that, you go back to the activity underscore main. You can have an ID here by saying Android ID, and we call it app bar over here by saying app_bar. Of course, hit Control Alt L, format everything, and things look neat right now. Going back to main activity, all you gotta do is make a variable here by saying private toolbar. Make sure it's toolbar, which is Android support v7 widget dot toolbar. Then go here, find the ID by saying toolbar equals to find view by ID r.id.app bar here. Of course, we need to typecast it. Press Alt Enter, cast the typecast, and all you got to do now is tell Android that hey, I'm not using your action bar anymore. Rather, I'll use my own action bar. Take a look at that method which says set support action bar. It's actually taking a toolbar object inside it. So let's put the toolbar object that we just created, and things must be pretty good to go. So let's run this and take a look at what happens. But before we do that, let's go to app bar and actually set a background color so that we can clearly see what the app bar looks like when it is custom. This is roughly what you're going to see when the app starts. Of course, I can make it CCC a bit darker to give you a better idea. So at this point, if you run this, there's our toolbar. And if you're wondering where this hello world came from, go back to your activity underscore main.xml here. And there's one thing we haven't fixed. Now this is a relative layout. that we are using, and the toolbar here is considered just like any other view, which means it's actually overlapping both of them since we have not specified any constraints. So for the text view, we can go here, we can say below over here, and we can say id app bar here, and that's gonna push the text view down like you guys saw. And of course we can run this again and get a look at the final version of this. So at this point, the toolbar that we see is pretty plain, and there's actually no custom view that we added inside this. And of course, if you go to the overflow menu here, click settings, I have made sure that there is a toast coming up, and you don't have to code anything for this because the toolbar is automatically going to route your menu click to the on options item selected, where I have actually displayed the toast that you saw just now on the screen. So with this, we have completed the basic setup of putting the toolbar. In the next video, let's see how we can put custom views inside so that we can further proceed and build our navigation drawer with view pager and stuff like that. In the meantime, if you do like what you saw, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to slidenerd, and let us know your thoughts in the comment boxes below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a